Hey fellow tankers, Mobius Y here with another edition of Tank Talk, and today we are going to briefly, and I mean briefly seriously this time, cover the Tier 6 British premium tank, the Cromwell Knight. This is a rare tank that was only offered once before in the summer of 2015 for 4,700 gold. You could make this Tier 6 premium Cromwell tank your own and add it to your garage. This tank has, since its initial release, been dubbed the Shagwell because with that giant Union Jack painted all over it, it's groovy, baby. That was my awful Austin Powers impression. Please don't kill me for that. Anyways, with the Independence bundles coming out soon here, offering the Super Pershing Freedom variant, the FCM 50-ton Liberté variant, and the Cromwell Knight in discounted bundled packages, they are also re-offering these tanks on their own at certain times throughout June, late June and early July. The Cromwell Knight will be available for 2,300 gold by itself on July 15th. So with this little review, hopefully this gives you a decent idea of whether or not you should pick this tank up. If you are a premium tank collector or you're looking for a good British crew trainer, look no further because the Cromwell Knight is the best British crew trainer we have available in the game, simply because it's the best British premium tank available in the game right now. And that will pretty much always be the case for a long time to come. I highly recommend picking up this tank if you have some gold to spare, as it is being offered for basically half price when it is released on its own on July 15th. So hopefully this review will give you an idea of whether or not you would like to pick this tank up. Also give you an idea of how to play this tank if you do not have a Cromwell, Tech Tree Cromwell in your tank. But let's be honest, you are out of your freaking tree if you do not have the Tech Tree Cromwell in your garage. So for those poor sods who don't, hopefully you'll find this review helpful. So there are a couple differences between the Cromwell Knight and the Tech Tree Cromwell, and let's go ahead and take a look at the stats right now to highlight those differences. The Cromwell Knight gets the same Rolls-Royce Meteor Mark 4B engine that the Tech Tree Cromwell does when it's fully upgraded, so it offers it 650 total horsepower. Now the 75mm gun Mark VA, if I recall correctly, it's the exact same gun that is on the Tech Tree Cromwell when you fully upgrade your Cromwell, but it has some slight different characteristics in basically how it handles. The rate of fire is the same at 15.38. The Cromwell and the Cromwell Knight both have a blistering rate of fire. The penetration for the standard AP rounds is 145 millimeters and 202 millimeters of APCR premium ammo penetration. Both of the alpha damage on these types of rounds is 135. So not a huge amount of alpha damage per shot, but with that ridiculous rate of fire and the good standard AP penetration with the really good premium APCR penetration, the Cromwell Knight can really rack up some damage really quickly on those who are not paying attention. Now the penetration on standard HE is only 38 and the alpha damage is 175, not really warranting loading up on many HE rounds, and we'll get into my ammo loadout a little bit later. Now, the big difference in this gun is how it handles, as I said. The Cromwell Knight has a much better aim time of 1.89. This is a much bigger improvement over the regular Tech Tree Cromwell, which has 2.29 aim time value. 2.29 is basically average, the very average value for this game altogether. So the Cromwell Knight has above average aim time, and it is actually quite noticeably better than the Tech Tree Cromwell. However, in receiving better aim time, it also has worse overall accuracy at 0.4, which is significantly worse than the Cromwell, which has 0.36, if I remember correctly. Now, the one other difference is, in fact, in the hull traverse speed. The Cromwell Knight gets much better hull traverse at 50 degrees per second. Much more noticeable hull traverse over the Tech Tree Cromwell. The turret is the exact same kind of turret as on the Tech Tree Cromwell, the Cromwell Mark IV. I believe it still gets slightly more traverse, if not pretty much the exact same traverse on the Knight as the Tech Tree Cromwell at 48 degrees. I can't remember if the Tech Tree Cromwell is 46 or 48 degrees, but you can quickly check that in the garage anytime you like. The turret armor values are very low, 76, 64, 57, as expected. It's a Cromwell turret. But the view range is pretty good for a Tier 6, especially for a medium tank, at 360 meters. And your signal range is 570 total. So basically, you play this tank like you would a regular Cromwell. And as I said, if you haven't yet played the Cromwell, well, you might want to go pick one up because it's always worth having one. Let's take a look at the equipment and supplies that I equipped on my Cromwell Knight. Note that the ammo loadout here in this screen here is in fact different from the ammo loadout that will be shown in the game replay that I have for you guys. I carry 45 standard AP rounds, 15 APCR premium rounds, and 4 high explosive ammunition. There's no real reason to carry very many high explosive ammunition as the alpha damage increase on softly armored targets, say Hellcats at tier 6 or even Borsigs at tier 8, it's not enough of an alpha increase to warrant carrying much more than 5 or 6 high explosive rounds on this tank. There's really no reason for it. And with a ridiculous rate of fire such as this tank has with its gun, you can run out of ammo very quickly. And if you carry an excess amount of high explosive rounds, you'll find you're running out of useful AP or APCR ammo. Next thing you know, you're trying to fend off a tier 7 IS Russian heavy tank or something, and you really need some penetration, but all you have is about a dozen HE rounds left, so that can screw you over. The consumables, very standard, small repair kit, small first aid kit, and an automatic fire extinguisher. Because this is a premium tank and it does earn more silver than a regular tech tree Cromwell, you could mount a large repair kit and or a large first aid kit, or even put food somewhere on this tank if you so choose, as you should still be able to earn silver with decent and especially good games in this tank, as it still does get the premium tank silver earning bonus. Let's take a quick peek at the equipment that I mount on my Cromwell Knight to make it work for me. A pretty basic setup here: coated optics to increase the view range, medium caliber tank gun rammer to decrease the reload time on the gun, and improved ventilation to enhance both aspects that the previous 2 pieces of equipment do. And basically the reasoning for this setup here is, with such a good aim time, there's no real reason to mount an enhanced gun laying drive, not really, as the tank aims in pretty quickly in and of itself without having to mount a gun laying drive. But also there's not really anything else worth mounting on this. You can't mount a vertical stabilizer, which would be super useful because this thing's on the move. Dispersion is atrocious, and the reticule is huge when you're moving around in this tank. But unfortunately you can't mount a vertical stabilizer. Not really much point in mounting Camelnet and Binox because a still Cromwell is a dead Cromwell. For those of you who have played it, you know what I'm talking about. So there's no real point in mounting Camelnet and or Binox. You want to be actively scouting with this thing, actively spotting enemy tanks, stay on the move, try not to get shot basically. So that's pretty much the equipment setup. That works for me on the Cromwell Knight. We're not going to take a look at the armor values on tanks.gg. Because simply put, it's a Cromwell. It's extremely weak armor-wise to pretty much anything that it will come across, even tier 4s. It is not hard to penetrate whatsoever, believe me on this. If you have not played a Cromwell, and as I said, you're crazy if you haven't played the Tech Tree Cromwell yet, the best way to simply not take damage in this tank is to just not be there to get shot. That's pretty much how it is. You preserve your HP like you would in any medium tank. Save as much HP as possible for the late game when you have no choice but to take hits on the leftovers of the enemy team, and then you'll have the HP to do it. So it is in fact very easy to get destroyed with this tank. High alpha guns, such as a lot of tier 7 heavy tanks like a T-29 or an IS, they will simply erase about half of your HP pool because this thing only has 750 hit points total. So something like an IS hitting you for 390, I mean, there goes half of your HP. One more hit and you're done from something else having that much alpha. So you got to stay moving and or just keep very close to hard cover and protect your HP as much as possible with the Cromwell Knight. As I said, just like you would a regular Cromwell. So with that being said, let's load up some gameplay here. Got a match here on South Coast. This was my daily double for the day, and I was in a platoon with a couple other Immortals members. We've got Casual Pie in his Tier 6 Fury Premium M4A3E8 US medium tank, and the Turkey tank in the M44 Tier 6 US Artillery, being a little scumbucket right there. Anyway, so our little 3-person platoon is going to load up on South Coast, and we're going to dish out some damage. So a very important aspect about the Cromwell Knight is early game positioning. You need to know where you're going to be going as soon as possible in this game. And with a tank that is as fast as the Cromwell Knight and or a standard Cromwell, there's multiple avenues of attack that you can approach, multiple places that you can put your tank and set it up to start actively spotting the enemy tanks, so that either your faster TDs that are already in position, or even your artillery can start aiming in and lining up their shots on enemy tanks that might not be quite in position yet. They could be caught out in the open and suddenly get smashed for half of their HP when it's, say, a tier 7 heavy tank or something like that. Now, something I did forget to mention is that the Cromwell Knight, it does not get preferential matchmaking. So for those of you who do like to be mostly top tier and don't mind the occasional middle tier, this is not the tank for you, as it sees up to tier 8s because it does not get preferential matchmaking. So if you're looking for a preferential matchmaking tier 6 premium tank, the Cromwell Knight is not for you. However, not getting preferential is also a bit of a good thing, because if you have a friend who is grinding a tier 6 tank, a regular tech tree tank, that sees up to tier 8s on its own, you can just play your premium tier 6 Cromwell Knight and play it as you would any other tech tree tank. You will see the same battle tiers as your friend will, except you will be owning bonus silver with its premium silver earning benefits here. So on South Coast, taking up the position on the 0 line, spotting the KV-1S, waiting for him to back up, planting some shots into his side armor as he's moving back into cover. So right here, RNG is working for me right now, but that shot completely missed. You can kind of see the 0.4 accuracy at work. Again here, lining up a shot on the VK3002M, 0.4 accuracy. You're going to miss pretty often from medium or even long ranges with the Cromwell Knight. But in the early game, that is how you have to play. You have to stay back, stay at range, spot out for your friendlies to start putting some damage on the red tanks, and also pop off a couple shots, try and land them as accurately as you can, and shave off some damage so that you can just close in for the kill as the red tanks start getting thinned out a little bit, and some reds become isolated or just vulnerable as they're on their own. Casual Pie taking a big hit from the enemy T-150, I believe it was over there, or another, a KV-85, my mistake, sorry. So our teammate Casual Pie is on very low HP, so I decided to pull forward. We auto-lock the KV-5, get a nice shot on him, aiming for the hatch of the KV-85. Shot flies true and nails the KV-85 right in the top of the turret, dropping him down to a one-shot. So I try to pull forward and snap off one more shot. I figured the KV-85 is reloaded, so I simply did not fully aim, but I also didn't want to lose half my HP, so I shot the round off, unfortunately bouncing and not hitting where exactly I wanted it to go. So seeing the VK3002M and the KV-85 are very low on HP, I decided to just push in, try and go in for the kill. Shot goes low. As you can see, the on-the-move dispersion is not very good, but having the shot go low and tracking him, I'm able to stop, line up my shot into his rear armor, and just finish him off. So right here, trying to use the gun depression. The Cromwell Knight does get good gun depression at 8 degrees, but these enemy tanks are simply just too low even for that good value of gun depression. I can't hit that VK3002M, but I can shoot the KV-1. So I plant one shot in the back of his turret, one more on the side of his turret, and he's gone, taking that hit from the VK3002M. However, I was full HP, so I was not worried about taking one hit from the VK. It was a very affordable hit to take, as I was still full HP, managing to protect my HP pool, even with artillery shooting at me. So pulling back into the town on the west side of South Coast, just trying to move in on this Jumbo Sherman M4A3E2. Teammates managed to take him out, and we see a full health Churchill 7. So it's time to go in full speed and show why the Cromwell is the Circle King of Tier 6, especially the Cromwell Knight with its enhanced traverse speeds, especially on the chassis, compared to the regular Tech Tree Cromwell. The Knight is an amazing circling medium tank, especially at Tier 6. And if you can get around quickly on the sides and rears of heavy tanks, just like I'm going to do on this Churchill 7, with its blistering rate of fire, you can absolutely shred their HP in a matter of seconds. Look at this, one shot after another into the side of the Churchill 7, just taking him down to one shot already, especially with Turkey Tank going in for a ram in his artillery. So taking out the Churchill 7, doing quite a lot of damage to him there. Now we're just looking for the final enemy, a T-150, who has remained hidden the whole game. So a quick thing to note there, as you can see, a lot of my shots on the Churchill 7 missing. The dispersion on the move value of the Cromwell Knight is really not very good. That combined with the worse overall accuracy over the regular Cromwell at 0.4, and the awful dispersion on the move, the Cromwell Knight has a lot more difficulty hitting its shots on the move, especially at range, as well as just hitting shots at range, period. When you find yourself in a situation where you do have to get in close and circle somebody, you need to get in as close as you can without endangering yourself, just to make those shots count, because the accuracy on the move with the Knight is very poor. And like I said, you can't mount a vertical stabilizer, for example. So we've got 3 friendlies piling onto the base, just going for the cap win. Not sure where the T-150 is. He could be in the bottom right of the map. He could be in the top left of the map. Just trying to search around and find him. The speed of the Cromwell Knight is very, very good. You can easily kick up to 55, 60 kilometers an hour. But our team decides just to cap it out, play it super safe, and just secure the win. So no ops, scoring about 2135 XP, 4270 total with the double XP, 61,000 silver earned because this is a premium tank. It does get silver earning benefits, dealing 1,684 damage, top damage of the entire game, also earning 2 medals to help with some of that silver earnings, knocking out 3 tanks. So not a bad game in the Cromwell Knight whatsoever, dealing over twice the damage that I have HP, so pretty good showing there, netting me some decent silver and earning a good amount of XP for training the crew. And as I said, the Cromwell Knight is basically a tech tree Cromwell with some slight differences in the stats, but it has other benefits that a normal premium tank offers you. You get enhanced silver earning benefits, you get better bonuses to crew training. Every game, I believe you get an extra, I want to say it's a 1.3 times multiplier to XP earned for the crew at tier 6. And while it does not get preferential matchmaking, only seeing up to tier 7, allowing it to actually see up to tier 8 tanks, tier 8 battles, that's not entirely a bad thing, as you can, as I said, platoon up with a friend or two who are also playing regular tech tree tier 6s, such as they're grinding them or they're playing some of their favorite tier 6s. You can simply load up in your Cromwell Knight, work on earning a little bit of extra silver, and also training up your British crews. So that's going to be it for this episode of Tank Talk. I highly recommend those of you who can afford to purchase the Cromwell Knight when it comes out on July 15th. Definitely take a look at it. It will be offered for only 2,300 gold total, when its original price was 4,700 total gold about a year ago. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it informational. Thanks very much for watching. This has been Mobius Y, and I hope to see you on the battlefield or in my next video. Happy tanking!